An Alaska skinwalker is a little different than the skinwalker of the Southwest or the Appalachia. Now, it's often seen in the appearance of a bear. Now, this story takes place in the Alaska wilderness. There were three men who were hunters who had went on this hunting trip. And one night they're at their campsite and they have a good sized fire going and they're just kind of laughing, eating food, drinking, having a good time. When all of a sudden this man comes out of the woods and they said it was really weird. He was this tall, skinny gentleman with a mustache and sort of slick back hair, and he's wearing this really nice suit jacket and dress pants. And they're like, what is this dude doing in the middle of the woods? And he's like, hey, my name is Jeffrey, and I'm camping not too far from here. I heard you guys, and I thought maybe I could join you. So Jeffrey kind of sits down with him, and they start talking and stuff, and he seems like a pretty cool guy. But then they said all of a sudden his demeanor sort of changed. He seemed more kind of aggressive and pensive. And he says to him, we're pretty alone out here in the wilderness. We're far away from a nearby town or city. Like if something happened to us, no one would hear us scream. And they're like, yeah, that's true. And, they're just kind of like, that's weird. Why is he saying that? And he said, yeah, a lot of things happen in this woods. A lot of people disappear and no one ever finds them. But that's Alaska for you. And they said he just stood up and he turned around and he walked off into the woods. So they were like, that was a really weird encounter. So they decided, you know what, we better be careful tonight because we don't know who this dude is. So none of them were able to really sleep much that night. About 2 a.m, they hear some noise outside of their campsite, like branches breaking, like something's moving through the woods. And they kind of hear what sounds like a weird grunting sound. They said all of a sudden out of the woods comes this very huge bear. And it grabs the tent and starts biting at the tent as they're in this tent, and they're like all in there. They start firing shots at this thing, but it's not affecting it. It's not giving up. And it's trying to rip through the tent and get to them. They manage to take a knife, cut the front of the tent. They all run out of the tent and take off running into the woods. And they said as they're going through the woods at night, they could hear the growls of this bear, like it was following them. And they said it seemed like it was almost intelligent, like a human. Well, they finally managed to go to this cabin that was in the middle of the woods, and they bang on the door, and this old man, answers, and they're like, we're being chased by a bear. Can we come inside? So they, he lets them in, and he closes up the door and has latches on the window that he closes. And he's like, yeah, there's more than just bears out here. There's a lot of weird stuff that happens all the time. So at night, I have my door fastened shut. I have my windows fastened shut. We don't go out at night here in this area. There was a trucker taking a load from San Antonio to Tacoma, Washington. And he had driven this route many a times. He was a very experienced driver. So he leaves San Antonio and he's headed towards Washington. Now it starts to get late. He's now in New Mexico, and he's not too far from the town of Shiprock. As he's driving down this desert highway, he doesn't see any other vehicles on the highway. But he notices kind of far off in the distance the shape of a person. And as he gets a little bit closer, he can see it's this man in a brown poncho, wearing jeans and cowboy boots with this scraggly brown hair. So he veers over into the other lane. And right as he gets into the other lane to go around this guy, his radio cuts off and his GPS screen goes out. And as he turns to look at the guy, the guy real fast just turns and stares directly at him and makes eye contact. And he can see that this guy has these bright yellow eyes. So the trucker just starts speeding up and is like, I'm out of here, man. I'm not gonna stay around this area very long. So he continues driving down this highway, and he sees another person up ahead in the road. And as he gets closer, he's like, wait a second, this is the same exact guy in that brown poncho. But this time, the guy is wearing what looks like a brand new poncho. He's not dirty anymore, and his jeans look clean, and he's, got shorter hair. But he could tell this is the same exact guy I just seen like a couple miles back. And all of a sudden, as he gets right up to this guy, the radio and the GPS cut off again. And this guy just takes off running into the middle of the road and starts screaming, waving his hands. And this truck driver just, whips the car to the left around this guy and kind of swerves around him. And he starts pushing on the gas, like trying to get out of there. He looks in the mirror and he can see this guy start running behind the truck. And this guy is picking up speed, and he's getting faster and faster, and like he's keeping pace actually with the truck. And he runs up to the side of the truck and makes it to the driver's side window. And like this truck driver's like, what is going on? And when he looks down, he can see the guy smiling with his like bright yellow eyes. And then finally the man just stops and like disappears into the darkness. So the trucker's pretty shaken up. He's pushing the car going like, 120 miles now. Well, as he's going down the road, he's like worried, like, I hope that the car, the truck doesn't overheat and stuff. But then all of a sudden he sees another shape up ahead in the road. And he thinks, oh man, I hope this isn't that guy again. Like, what is going on? But as he gets a little closer, he sees this, what appears to be kind of this dog-like creature on the side of the road. And it's got these bright yellow eyes. And it starts chasing after his truck. And this thing, he's going 120 miles an hour. He's pushing it as fast as he can down this highway. And this thing is running alongside his truck. And he thinks, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, this thing is going to get me. But then all of a sudden he sees these bright lights and realizes he's come to the town of Shiprock. And this thing just kind of turns off and runs away into the desert. So when he gets into Shiprock, he stops at this truck stop and is like, panicking and freaking out. And he ends up running into this other trucker, and he's like, hey, you all right, man? Like, is everything good? And he tells him, what had just happened. And that guy says, oh man, you were on the infamous Route 666. And like all kinds of strange stuff like that happens. People see skinwalkers and ghosts and UFOs all the time on this stretch of highway. You're just like one of many truckers that have had that same experience.
I was 16, almost 17, living in a small one-story house near the woods with my mom and my little brother Ryan, who was 7 at the time. My mom worked night shifts at a nursing home, so I was the one watching Ryan when she was gone. After I put him to bed around 8, I'd usually spend the night on the couch watching TV, scrolling through my phone, and eating whatever junk food I could find. Normal teenager stuff. The house wasn't completely isolated, but our nearest neighbors were far enough away that you couldn't hear them if they screamed. I used to love having the house to myself, until everything changed. The first strange thing that happened seemed so minor at first. It was around 11:30 p.m. I was lying in bed scrolling through my phone when I heard this soft shuffling noise, like someone slowly dragging their feet across the carpet. I froze. Ryan was already asleep. My mom was at work. I held my breath and waited, trying to convince myself I imagined it. A few seconds passed, and then I heard it again. Faint, slow scuffing, like someone trying not to be heard while moving through the living room. My heart started pounding. I got out of bed as quietly as I could, grabbed my phone, and crept into the hallway. The front door? Locked. Windows? Also locked. Nothing looked out of place. But then I saw it. The hallway closet door was cracked open. We never left it open, ever. I stood there frozen, every nerve on edge. My instincts screamed at me to go back to bed, pretend I hadn't seen it, but I didn't. I yanked the door open, nothing, just coats and old shoes. I laughed it off, told myself I was just being paranoid, but I still locked that closet door before going back to bed. A few nights later, I woke up suddenly, for no reason. The room was pitch black, silent, and then I heard it, breathing. Deep, slow breathing that wasn't mine. It wasn't coming from outside or the hallway. It was inside my room. I reached for my phone, my hands shaking, and turned on the flashlight. I scanned the room, empty. The closet was closed. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. After that, I started to feel watched. Like, whenever I turned away, someone was there, just out of sight, just around the corner. I told my mom, but she said I was being dramatic. Then about a week later, she came home early and woke me up. Her face looked pale, unsettled. She asked me why the back door was unlocked. I told her I'd locked it, and I meant it, but she said it was wide open when she got home. I didn't argue. That night, I locked my bedroom door and kept my phone beside me. At some point in the middle of the night, I woke up again, that same cold feeling like something was wrong, and I heard the breathing again. I sat up, heart pounding. My closet door was open, not wide, just barely. And as I stared, it moved, just slightly, just enough. I turned on the flashlight, and that's when I saw him. There was a man crouched inside my closet. His skin was pale like he hadn't seen sunlight in weeks. His greasy hair clinging to his face, his body sickly thin, and he was smiling at me, a wide, horrible grin. I don't even remember getting out of bed. 1 second I was staring into his eyes. The next I was running, slamming the door behind me, tearing down the hallway to Ryan's room. He woke up crying as I grabbed him and sprinted out of the house with my phone already dialing 911. The police showed up fast. They found him still inside my closet. Turns out he had been living in the crawl space under our house for weeks. He got in through a loose vent and had been sneaking into the house at night, watching us sleep, stealing food, hiding in places we never thought to check. And the worst part, the thing that still gives me nightmares, was what they found behind my coats when they pulled him out. A knife. The police said he was probably waiting for the right moment. I try not to think about what would have happened if I hadn't woken up that night, but every now and then, I do. And that's why I'll never stay home alone again.